Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm on here again, running a little bit behind, but I just wanted to get on here and talk just briefly about you, or talk briefly with you about some things that been running through my mind the last couple of weeks. Before I get to that, don't forget to follow me on this page or my business page, BYC Become Your C, on Facebook, Instagram at Become Your C, TikTok, BYC Become Your C, and YouTube, BYC Become Your C. That's where you can find all my previous videos about mental health and things regarding mental health. Also, my website is up and running. It's www.becomeyourc.com. I talk all things about mental health and holistic approach to healing. So if you're ever interested in having a conversation about mental health or ways that we can combat mental health dealing with holistic approaches, feel free to message me as well. If you're interested in anything that I have to aid you on your journey towards self-discovery, um, feel free to message me as well, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you're ever feeling so overwhelmed that you feel like that the pressure of the world is getting to you, that you don't have no one to talk to, you're contemplating suicide, please don't let that be an option. Trust me, I understand when I know those thoughts can become overwhelming, when I know the world can become overwhelming. We need you here. You have a reason to be here and you have purpose. And so make sure that you take time to get the help that you need. Reach out to the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255, or you can visit them on their website, 988lifeline.org. Or also they have a text app now where you can actually just text 988 and it will set you up with someone that can help you. Don't let that be an option. I know times is rough. I know that sometimes it feels like the walls is closing in on you, but you deserve to be here. You have a right to be here, and your story is not over yet. So make sure that you get the help that you need. We all get help for different things, and our mental health matters to us the most. Our mental health is going to put us in a place where we deserve to be at. It's going to allow us to live in this world and not just exist. So the kind of the topic I wanted to talk about today is about fear, and I've been dealing with this the last few weeks, but just it's been heavy on my heart this week because I faced with a lot of different situations, especially dealing with mental health issues. Sometimes it puts you in a place of being afraid all the time, especially when you suffer from anxiety and panic attack. If you're depressed, if you have PTSD, you avoid certain people, situations because of fear. And I wanted to explain what fear is, and what we can do so that we can start living life to its full capacity. Fear, by brief definition, is two definitions, is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause a pain or threat, or be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening, right? So we all hear of common fears like heights, like some people are afraid of the dark, some people are afraid of, like for me, um, I don't like driving over like small bridges. I don't like the dark completely. I don't like being caught in between tractor trailers. That is like some common fears. Some people have fear of clowns. You hear about that all the time. Um, but we don't hear about those uncommon fears, and I'm gonna talk about that briefly. So again, I share what fear was. And so everyone, a lot of people have common, or a lot of people have some type of fear at some point in their life. But when a fear becomes like threatening to yourself, or you thinking about it all the time, or you avoid certain situations or people, and sometimes we need to do that, but when it becomes so intense, that creates a phobia, right? And a phobia is a persistent and intense fear of a particular object, a person, like a doctor, like a clown, a situation or activity, right? And so you hear of people, like for me, years ago, I had this fear, intense fear of going out in public because I thought people were like talking about me. I didn't want to be noticed. So it kept me isolated for a long time. I had to push myself um, and realize that they were all my own thoughts in my head. But when you have a phobia, those thoughts speak louder than what's reality. And so a lot of people may avoid like going outside. A lot of people might be fearful, let's say, of birds, or fearful of dogs, fearful of like certain even scents, um situations. Some people may be fearful of driving or hopping on a bus. um for me, I have a lot of panic and anxiety, and I noticed my car is down, so I've had to take public transportation, and I noticed my anxiety and my panic attacks were more intense riding the bus and riding the train. And for me, I had to decide, even though while I was having the panic attack, like I got stuff to do, I don't want to be at home. I had to push myself, but a lot of people can't push themselves because that fear is so intense. And so, what are they supposed to do about that? That's why the doctors are here to help you to find the root cause. A lot of our intense fears come from childhood trauma. A lot of things that we deal with, especially mentally, come from undealt with childhood trauma, undealt with issues, spiritually, especially. Oh yeah, anxiety is a tough thing to deal with. I've been dealing with it with at least, I would say like at least 15 years. Um, but the thing about when you have anxiety, and there are a lot of different phobias that mess with fear, that people won't go out the house because maybe they fear something may fall on them. People don't walk over bridges. It's this one bridge in a town that I hate walking over because it's the highway on either side, and I feel like one day it's going to break. So even though like I'm afraid of that, it's not a phobia because I can still do it. Like the phobia won't allow you to do certain things. And I'm going to go down certain phobias that people may have. Um, Claustrophobia is fear of close spaces. I can't pronounce some of these, so please forgive me for mispronouncing them. Glossophobia is fear of public speaking. Hemophobia, fear of blood. Um, Mesophobia, germophobia, fear of contamination. Zoophobia, fear of animals. So there are some. Um, Arachnophobia, fear of spiders. I can't even pronounce a lot of these. Alloraphobia, fear of cats. So there are like just some where people, because it can be people, it can be places, but people, animals, places, also certain things, and I didn't even know about these. Um, People can be afraid of the wind, of flooding, of snow, of the sun, tornadoes. And a lot of times what happens, we see these people, they overdo stuff. Like, let's say you're afraid of the war, or if something happens. Like, I believe that you should stock your health with plenty of water and food just in case anything happens. And that's not just with the cost of living. Let's say you lose your job. You want to make sure that you have enough stuff to so that you can have it for a while. So you got to think logically. But when you have a phobia, there's no thinking logically. What you're doing to combat that fear, you may have your house padded up, right? You may not allow people. You may not even go to the store. You, especially people with germaphobe, they may dress up. They may wear gloves and such going out in public, just touching. Even if they touch themselves and they feel like they're not clean, they may wash their hands excessively. Or certain people that have intense phobias may have a ritual that they do, and if they break that ritual, they will have to repeat it. They have a show that used to show stuff like this. I don't know if it still comes on or not, where people get so overwhelmed and they can't get out of the house because of their phobia or fears. And so what do we do about that? How do we combat our fears so that it doesn't take over us? And I'm going to name a couple of different things that I was thinking of. People can be fearful of success. People can self-sabotage, right? Like, I believe that we are blessed with certain gifts and purpose. And sometimes, like, that fear inside of us, fear of succeeding or fear of failure, keeps us from doing what we want, doing what we need, pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zone. Let's say we want to do something so bad, we want to try something, but the fear in us keeps us from doing it. It prevents us from even trying. And that messes with our mental health, because now we seep into depression because we're not doing something that we want because of that fear. Fear of being lonely. You see this a lot of times. People be in relationships they shouldn't be because they don't want to be by themselves. They are that afraid of being alone, or they stay in toxic situations because they don't want to be alone. Fear of love and being loved, right? Some people are afraid to love and being loved. One, they don't think they deserve it. Um, they're afraid that someone will hurt them. Let's say we are going to deal with heartbreak, but some people may avoid relationships because they feel like that person is going to hurt them. Fear of dying, and this is one of my fears, and I've been trying to combat it for a long time. Some people are fear of dying. They may not sleep, right? They may avoid taking chances because they don't want to put themselves in a position where they may die as a result of their action. And I believe in taking risks. I don't believe in taking certain risks because maybe them certain risks might lead to dying, but some people are so afraid of dying that they won't leave their house, like those phobias, right? They don't want to cross the street because what if a car hit them? They don't want to learn how to drive because what if they get into an accident? They don't want to fly. Let's say they want to go on vacation to another country, but they have a fear of flying, so because they feel like the plane might crash. All of these fears are understandable, but we have to find out the root cause of them. And there's ways I've seen people do hypnosis, go into therapy to figure out where the trigger is. We can't allow our fears to keep us from getting the things that we want and that we need. And I know that it's a process, especially if you're suffering, but it's ways to deal with it. And I say if you fear something, that means that's something that you need to address, that you need to figure out where that fear is coming from. If you fear going outside, why are you afraid of going outside? What happened growing up? Maybe something didn't happen growing up. Maybe you're in teenagers or adult years. I'm going to say this trigger warning. Maybe you were raped, right? Outside. So now you're fearful of going outside. Now you're fearful of certain type of people because maybe that person that did that to you, you see that everywhere. So you isolate yourself. Now you're not living. You're actually suffering because of something that happened to you. And trust me, that is a unfortunate thing that happened. Is very sad. That's why you have to go get help in order to deal with the emotions of that. I can't tell you how to feel, especially dealing with that in a situation. You have to figure out what works for you. But we can't allow the fear to keep us from getting to where we want to be. Let's say you got bit by a dog growing up. And so now you're fearful of dogs, even though some are friendly, right? You won't walk past a gate, or you may accidentally run into a street because you see a dog coming. You can't even look. Some people are so afraid of certain things they can't even look at that fear on TV. So what happens is that, hey Tyrone, what happens is that when you're really afraid, you can't do anything. So what happens if you're so afraid you can't go out? So you can't work because of the fear, but you have to work. You isolate yourself. And when we isolate ourselves, it creates sadness. And long-term sadness creates depression. And we can't allow ourselves to sit in that for so long. And so I'm saying this because I know what fear does. I know what depression does. I know what panic and anxiety does because I suffer from it. And I'm sharing this, what I have been learning over the last few weeks is that even in spite of fear, we must try every day to combat that. And what that means is that we have to do something every day that's going to attack the fear. For me, I don't like large crowds. So I put myself in positions sometimes that I have no choice but to be in a large crowd. I have panic attacks and anxiety on the bus and the train, but that's my mode of transportation right now. So what do I have to do? I have to find a way to combat it. And you got to find a way to combat what's keeping you in fear. So for me, it's meditation on my way to the train or the bus. I listen to music. I may read. I keep my mind busy to take my feelings away from the panic and anxiety. Am I having it while I'm still fearful? Yes, but I still have things to do. And you have things that you need to do. You got a life that you need to live and you want to live. It's hard, and I know when you're afraid to do something, dealing with your mental health, um, it keeps you in a place where you don't see no way out. And so you create a comfort space, which is your home. Like, home is safe, right? Home, even if you're having panic anxiety, no one's not going to see you. They're not going to judge you, right? You feel safe at home. If people don't understand what mental health is or dealing with mental health issues are, they're going to judge you. And that's what the thought process, and they may not, but that's the thought process in your head. So let's say you're having like a manic episode, bipolar episode, or you're going through a schizophrenic episode out in public. People are going to judge you. And we do this. We judge people before we even know the situation. People are going to judge you, and that's going to make whatever you're going through worse. And so in the back of your mind, you're going to tell yourself, this is why I don't come out. This is why I keep myself isolated. Let's say you have a fear of speaking in public because maybe you might tremble a little bit. Maybe you have a speech impairment. Maybe you get nervous and you start stuttering. You're not going to speak in public. But even though you know that's what you want to do, you're not going to put yourself out there because you know that's what you're afraid to open your mouth because you think people are going to judge you. We are our worst critics. What I'm finding as I get older, what I'm finding as I put myself out there more, you got to own your stuff. And I think the more you talk about like what you're going through, you'll realize that there's so many people that are going through the same things, and it makes that okay. Whenever I'm going through a panic attack, especially out in public, I let people know now. I'm like, hey, I'm going through this, because at least if anything happens and I'm with someone, they know kind of what to do. They can't stop the panic and anxiety from happening, but if I need to take a break, if I need to, like, if I'm riding in the car, I need to stop. I can't hop off the bus or the train. So I think sometimes situations that we are in forces us to deal with the issues at the forefront. Um, like for me, riding the bus or the train, I can't just hop off. I mean, I can get off at the next stop, but I can't just hop off. I have to sit in with it. And I said, at least, like in my mind, at least if something is happening, there are people around that can help me. And so I tell myself that. And so if I tell myself that there are people around, it kind of brings some easement to me. Sometimes we're in situations where there are not people around and we're going through the motion. And that's why I encourage people to like meditate, because meditation will help you figure out what's really going on the inside of you. A lot of us, again, are dealing with trauma from our childhood, from earlier years, that we don't want to deal with because it's painful, or maybe we forgot about it. But what happens spiritually with trauma, it doesn't go away. It's there. Your cells recognize this. You ever be in a situation like certain smells trigger me, good or bad? Certain places that I even drive by is a trigger for me. And you don't know it until you like go somewhere or smell something and like, why am I feeling this way? And then it brings back those thoughts. So you got to deal with what's hurting you so that you can go out. And granted, I know like certain people, like you can pick up other people's energy. I get that, right? That's one of the reasons why I don't like being in big groups, because I can pick up everybody's energy and it affects me. And if you're one of those people, trust me, I understand if you don't want to be around large crowds, but you cannot stop the fear from keeping you isolated. You got to deal with it. Again, it's people out there that can help you. But you gotta want to help yourself first. And trust me when I know, and I know what depression feels like. Depression keeps you isolated. It keeps you not wanting to do anything. Depression keeps you from doing your purpose. You gotta push past it. You gotta push past feeling sorry for yourself. You gotta push past, like, what if people don't accept me? You gotta push past, like, why me? I don't understand where mental health or these issues come from, being bipolar, schizophrenic, PTSD, and anxiety and panic. I'm still trying to figure out, like, why. And sometimes I do ask myself, like, why do I have to deal with this? It sucks. It's suffering. It's painful. But despite all of that, I still got a life to live. I can't allow this fear to keep me in my home. What am I gonna do here? For me, I want to help people. I can't help people sitting in the house. I like to paint. I mean, I can paint in my house, but I want to be amongst people. I think sometimes fears inside of us stop us because that fear knows what you could become, so it's gonna stop you from becoming it. And if you're religious, the devil, if you're spiritual energies, no matter what you believe in. So that fear is the negative trying to keep you from becoming your full self and trying to prevent you from living your full life. And so what do you have to do to combat that? You got to take baby steps. One, you got to meditate. You have to meditate. That's the only way you're going to hear yourself. That's the only way you're going to heal. If you don't listen to yourself, if you can't hear yourself, then how are you going to know how to fix it? And some things we can't fix ourselves. I don't take medicine, but if you feel like that's going to help you live the best quality life that you want, then by all means do that. If you go the religious route, if you go therapy, if you do the holistic, whatever you choose to do, I need you to figure out a way for you to start living and combating some of these fears. the fears is not going to go away. Actually, they're going to increase the closer that you get to figuring out your full purpose and your full reason of being here on this earth. Because trust me, we all got a purpose and we got these gifts that need to be given. And the fear keeps us from giving those, right? We're all here for each other. We have gifts that we have to give to others. And so that fear is going to prevent us from doing that. And so what are you going to do to help you combat your fears? Sit with yourself. And it's okay if you cry. It's okay to go through the emotions. You may be angry. It might start bringing up stuff that happened that caused you to fear. And then once you go through all the emotions, the anger, the frustration, why did I put myself in this situation? Why are people this way? Then you'll begin the healing process. Now you're going to figure out a solution. Because people may have hurt you. Some things may have happened to you. For me, I lost my dad when I was like 10 years old. He got killed, right? It's been almost 28 years. And so it saddens me, especially around like Father's Day time. And it's like, should I celebrate? Why not, right? Fear would keep us from celebrating. Okay, I don't have my father here. It's a sad situation, but what can I celebrate? The men that are in my life, that are fathers, that are father figures, that have had impact me. I can choose to take that sad experience and turn it into something positive. I can grieve and still provide comfort and celebration to someone else. You can still make a positive impact in your grieving and in your fear state. You got to be bigger than the fear. You got to exist still with having fear. Fear is going to stop you from enjoying life. There are a lot of things I'm afraid of. I don't like the complete dark. But I do know that darkness is not necessarily something to be afraid of. I do know that positive things come out of dark places. It takes time to get to that place where you turning these negative situations and look at it at a big front. Maybe you're going through something right now that's keeping you in fear, that you don't see no way out. Even with the tough situation you're in, you gotta kind of trying to find a positive in this situation. I'm going through something right now, right? And I'm normally I will say I feel stuck. And I've been in a situation repeated over the last 3 years. So it's a lesson to be learned. Life is going to keep throwing you lessons. God is going to keep throwing you lessons. The universe is going to keep giving you lessons until you learn from it. And so for me, this fear that I'm going through right now, it's telling me, what did I do before and it didn't work? I can't allow the fear to keep me from doing what I need. And that's what you need to do for yourself. If you suffer from panic anxiety, and I only can speak on things that I suffer from, and the panic anxiety is preventing you from getting to where you need to be, write a list of the things that you want to do and that anxiety and panic attacks prevent you from doing. And then meditate. And then each day do something that brings you closer to getting to the goals that you want. It's a hard process. I've been dealing with panic and anxiety for a very long time. And what I do to encourage myself to get out of that space is like, hey, we're going to do this today. You need to do this for yourself. Hey, like, it feels better. For me, you got to find something that feels good for you. If doing that goal makes you a better person, if that goal makes you feel good on the inside, then you got to find a way to complete it. And so you have to beat fear. And the only way to beat fear is to go through it. Go through the action carrying fear on your back. Eventually, fear is going to fall off because it's not going to be strong enough to hold on anymore. Once you realize that you can live in spite of your mental health illness, in spite of fear, in spite of doubt, you'll be better off. And this is a learning process. It's a growth process. It is a journey. I'm not still 100% in doing what I need to do, but I'm better now than I was before. Now when I'm faced with fear, I meditate and I challenge myself and I kind of push myself. Don't overexert yourself. I think sometimes people that don't understand the journey and the process of dealing with mental health, that you're supposed to hurry up and get everything. No, everything is not meant to be rushed. There's lessons, and your lessons are for you. And I think sometimes we allow people's judgment to make us more uncomfortable with the situation and ourselves. Sometimes we need to isolate ourselves from others, especially if they're adding to our stress, adding to our fear. Sometimes people have created fear in us because there's something inside them that they don't like. There's something that they want to do that they can't do, that they see that you might do, and they want to beat you to it, or they want to prevent you from it. And my uncle always told me this: there is a glow inside of you, or a light inside of you, that someone else sees, that they will diminish your worth and your value, so that you don't outshine them. So I'm telling you, you need to shine. Despite anything, despite your so-called failures, they're not failures, they're lessons. Despite your fears, despite you feeling down on yourself, despite feeling low, despite low self-esteem, despite feeling that you don't matter, but you do. We have to accept that this is the state that we're in. We have mental illness. It does not have us. We got to accept that this is something that we are going to live with for the rest of our lives. And so what are we going to do in spite of all of that? We got to find a way to combat fear. Every stage of our life, we're going to be faced with new challenges and new fears. So what are you going to do? We can't keep running away from ourselves. The world is not going to get to see who we really are if we keep running and hiding. So we got to fight in spite of those negative feelings that come inside of us in our thought process, because what happens is when fear is inside us, it sends signals to our brains. Our brains send signals to our cells that we need to retreat back to our comfort zone. But staying in our comfort zone will prevent us from living the life that we deserve to live. So what are you going to do in spite of fear? What are you afraid of? What are you not allowing yourself to do because of your mental health illness and because of the fear that's attached to that? So that is basically what I wanted to share with you. I'm going to tell, in spite of everything, don't allow people's judgments and labels to take away from who you are. People that are not dealing with what you have to deal with cannot make judgment. They cannot put their two opinions on it. They cannot say what you need to do. You know what you need to do and what's best for you. Don't allow people's time schedules to rush you from getting where you need to be. I say take as much time as you need, but don't sit in whatever you're sitting in too long, because what happens, that turns into depression. Sit whatever you need to. Feel the emotions from it and then make a plan and execute it. And this is not rushed. I say the slow process is better because it gives you time to learn it, to apply it, and to take baby steps to make it something happen. This is a life journey. It's not meant to be rushed. It's meant to enjoy every step of the way. I want you to learn how to combat fear so that you can create memories and loving memories. I want you to combat fear so that you can live the life that you want and that you deserve. You don't deserve to be isolated. You don't deserve to keep living in fear because of something that may have happened like 10, 15, 20 years ago. I know that it's probably still hurting. I know that certain situations you don't want to be in, but it's things attached to that. So don't put yourself in situations where you know it's toxic, or you know, like, let's say hanging with a group of people will cause certain things. Don't do that. But sometimes we can prevent, you know, certain situations, but get yourself out there as quickly as possible. If you're afraid to go to the store because you're a germaphobe or because of people you think they talking about you, try walking in your neighborhood first. Try doing baby steps. That's progress. I think sometimes we think that progress is this extravagant thing. Like, let's say you're trying to lose weight and you want to lose like 30 pounds and you only lost 1 pound. That's progress. Consistency is better than trying to do something so quickly it backfires. You owe it to yourself to figure out a plan for your life. You owe it to yourself to not allow fear to take away from who you are. And that's basically all I have for you. I appreciate everyone that's watched. If you feel like someone needs to hear this, please share. Please visit my website. That has a lot of good information on there as well. It's www.becomeyourc.com. Follow me on all social media. TikTok, BYC Become Your C. YouTube, BYC Become Your C. YouTube has all my previous videos. Instagram at Become Your C. Here on Facebook with BYC Become Your C. I share this information because I feel like it's something that needs to be said. We're all going to be afraid. We're all afraid of things. Some of us have phobias because of the intense fear. But in spite of everything, you matter. In spite of everything, you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to know what it feels like to truly live. If you want to truly live, you need to combat your fears. One day, one moment at a time. Meditate, make a plan for your life so that you can see what it feels like to get outside of the box that you created for yourself. You don't have to rush. There's no time limit. But I want you and I encourage you to get the help that you need so you can become the amazing person that you are. So that's all I have. I want you to go out and enjoy your day. And if you hear anything that I had to say today, is that we cannot allow fear to prevent us to becoming amazing. So enjoy your day. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you.